So I was glad to do it. Now, the thing about my neighborhood, which was really cool, is that the Fly, you would think is kind of weird, but when you had a nickname in my neighborhood, it was like you were up on a hierarchy, you know. There were different cats. There was like the Bomber, there was the great Abdul Bundini. But not just the great Abdul Bundini, it was the great Abdul Bundini to you, sir. You know. There was Franny Wawa, Franklin Institute Welding, a gentleman and a school. There was a lot of cats with different names, you know. But the Fly was in that hierarchy of cats. So when he said, "Can you tune guitar?" I'm like, I'm gonna follow whatever he said, because I was kind of like low on the totem pole. I was just kind of a goofy basketball player, just started playing guitar. So he said, there's this guy 10 blocks up the hill at 60th and Chester Avenue who's having a problem tuning his guitar. Do you want to, can we go up there? So I said, yeah, I think I can do it. I'm not really doing that. He just got thrown out of my house. So we walked 10 blocks, I dribbled the entire time. And being like a joker, I was throwing the ball at the Fly, seeing if he could catch it, you know. Because, you know, we catch flies. It was like a reverse kind of weird thing. So, I'm a nut, you know. So, we keep walking, and then all of a sudden we come to this house, this crazy front door that I'd never been to. And the Fly's banging on the door, and the door opens, and they go, "It's the Fly." So of course the Fly's welcome everywhere. But they go, they got this kid here, Kenn, he can tune the guitar. So they let me in because the Fly had like that clout, he had street cred. So, as they would say nowadays, you know, I don't know if I agree with that type of slang, you know. But so we go in, and then it's this long row house, and as I'm walking, it's kind of darkened because they had like refrigerator lights there instead of regular light bulbs, 15-watt jobs. So I see at the end, towards the kitchen area, where I can see big windows, like a shadowy figure of this guy who looked like a young Johnny Cash. I'm like, who's this guy? You know, and then he's got this crazy guitar. So he goes, "Can you tune my guitar?" And I said, yeah, I can probably tune it. Give it to me, you know. So I grabbed the guitar, I tuned the guitar. And then once I tuned his guitar, it was like I had solved every puzzle of the universe to this guy, you know. Little did I know this guy was a great songwriter. You know, his name was Billy Scheid. And, you know, so I was 17 in 1969. He was like 26 or 27. He was like hugely older than me. So he goes, "Show me what you got, kid." So I was like, okay, I think I'm really good, even though I'm not that good. And then we were trading off like songs, and I could tell he was, unfortunately, I couldn't believe he was better than me. Because I had traded my basketball skills for being a guitar guy. But anyway, he grabbed my phone number at the end of that little situation and said, "I'm going to call you someday." You know, now I was a Temple University student at that time, so I thought, this guy's never going to call me, because he was smoking pot, drinking. 2 strikes against him as far as I was concerned. I was totally sober, straight edge. I never drank. I didn't smoke pot. And the worst thing he had on his shirt was Woodstock. Peace. I was going, 3 strikes you're out, federal crime. So I was like, this motherfucker's not going to call me. If he calls, I'm not going to call him back. But anyway, a couple weeks go by, he calls me, and on a Friday, I go, after Temple University, I go over. I have my guitar, and I am beginning to get amazed by this drunken, weed-smoking dude in Southwest Philly that I never came across, who's writing these unbelievable songs on an acoustic guitar with electric guitar strings. It's like you don't put electric guitar strings on a folk guitar. It's like, but it's like he sounds like Richie Havens, but he's writing songs like Bob Dylan. I'm like, oh my God, this can't be. By then I'm like 17 and a half. I'm moving out of whatever period I was prior to that. And then I was so impressed that he kept calling me, and I went there almost every Friday after Temple University classes to kind of become mentorized by him for such a thing. And then after a while, I'd been with him for a while, I started to learn the code of writing really good songs. He was this crazy alcoholic guy that was like in touch with some kind of universal thing, like whether it was all the way back to the Greeks, you know, Plato, Socrates, or whatever. But it rang true in my like college-educated brain that this was a worthwhile time to be spent with somebody. And then I started to kind of pick up on what he was doing. So, and, you know, I became an apostle of Billy Shide, you know. But, you know, I didn't realize that the day that the Fly brought me to that house at 60th and Chester Avenue in Southwest Philadelphia, that meeting him in that kitchen was going to be the big bang of Kweder that took place right there. So what I'd like to do is play one of Billy Shide's songs for you guys, because he basically launched me. So. Well, it's cold and it's raining, and the streets look like glass, and me, I'm just walking alone with my past. I'm standing on 4th Street with everything that I own. Right across the street used to be my home. Remember me, I'm your friend, yes I am. Remember me, we lived together, yes we did. Remember all the fun we had, making love in a taxi cab. Remember me, I'm the man you said you're gonna love forever. These sandals I'm wearing, you gave me last year, and this coat that I just pawned, we stole New Year's Eve. But over the rainbow, where all those good things lie, I'm gonna wish you by and by. Remember me, I'm your friend, yes I am. Remember me, we lived together, yes we did. Remember all the fun we had, making love in a taxi cab. Remember me, I'm the man you said you're gonna love forever. Remember me, I'm your friend, yes I am. Remember me, we lived together, yes we did. Remember all the fun we had, making love in a taxi cab. Remember me, I'm the man you said you're gonna love forever. Remember me, I'm the man you said you're gonna love forever. Remember me, I'm the man you said you're gonna love forever. Billy Shide. Okay, this is all new to me, so I'm trying to work with my iPad. So it was time to break away from my heroes. I started to write songs right after that, you know, and you know, I was a big believer in myself, but it's kind of tricky, and it's a tricky thing to navigate through. And I realized that the most important thing for artists is to do damn great work, make sure people know your name, and that in order to work, word of mouth is incredibly huge, you know. So, hold on a second.
You're huge, Ken.
I brought this just in case my thumb wasn't working. So. I actually did. No, it's like a miniature sword cane. It can't hurt you, you know. Right now, I do have a sword cane. With a sword. So, you know, out there I was trying to get gigs, you know. I know I was good, you know. I'm trying to do gigs. But I can't get past the managers of these places to convince them that I'm good. So I thought, son of a gun, I'm going to overreact. like some people we know in politics, right? So I'm going to kind of shove myself down people's throats or something without a record deal. So like I said, I was in Temple University. I was taking a trolley to school often, and at every railway station that was pretty popular, 10,000 people would go through, I saw the graffiti artists called Chewy and Cornbread. Do you remember those guys?
Yeah.
Now that was really cool. They were everywhere, and there was a legend that they actually spray painted their name underneath the belly of a big airplane out on a tarmac down at Philadelphia International Airport. I go, I like these guys. These are my guys. So, and at the same time, I'm like bumping into people that are from the SDS students from Democratic Society, Angela Davis, who are putting posters up that are very legible, but they're not ubiquitous. They're everywhere, but they're real legible. Chewy and Cornbread are everywhere, but the posters, Angela Davis posters, were really they had an iconographic picture of Angela, and I was thinking, I gotta marry this concept together because I want to get some gigs. I know I'm not. I would call this situation the catch-22 of showbiz, because word of mouth helps you out, but no gigs don't give you word of mouth. You know, it almost rhymes, right? So word of mouth helps you out, but no gigs don't give you word of mouth. So I go, I'm going to do word of posters. So I came up with this poster. Where's Cindy at? Can you show it to them? That's the one I designed. I went into the, and I went to get that photograph, I went to the Philadelphia Library, and it was a choice between a picture of the Pope in a helicopter in front of gears, gearing like a helicopter. This is pre-tabloidal age that we live in now. It was very strange. Now it wouldn't make any sense, right? No big deal. Or it was this picture of Jack Ruby shooting, and I go, I think more people will be disturbed by that. What we want to do is we don't care whether people like you or not. We want them to remember your fucking name. And there it is. So we put that together. So we put this back. That's gonna fall the fuck down. Put it next to it.
There you go.
Put it next to the fur. Put it next to the fur coat. Fuck it. So anyway, that was my thing. Now, so I printed up a fuckload of those, and I went out and I started putting them up with a staple gun. But I noticed they were coming down, so my heart was broken. Right. So. But little did I know that serendipity was going to lead me to the Angela Davis people and the SDS people who were using something called carnation milk. This is one of the genetic makeup of Kenn Kweder. It is, it's true. Without carnation milk, you wouldn't be here. None of us would. It'd be like the serpentine, DNA thing. So anyway, I find out that carnation milk is a better adhesive than wallpaper paste that they use to put records. Now, not understanding this, I'm like, fuck, everything's going bad, fucked up. I moved back in with my mom briefly, So, let me get through this iPad thing. It's just all new to me. I have 3,000 bullet points. You're supposed to have 10. I gotta go through the spider web of Kweder. Anyway, I'm not even aware of this, but somehow I get drifted into working for the government, I'm working for the state of Pennsylvania, right? I'm putting up these posters, staples, using a little bit of carnation milk. A little bit's happening, nothing's happening. Then all of a sudden I'm moving with this girl who turns our apartment into a illegal daycare center, right? That's typical of me, right? I never even heard of the daycare center. I'm from Southwest Philly. I didn't know people would drop their kids off in 1973 somewhere. But so I'm drinking the whole time. I'm working for the government. These kids are running in and out of my bedroom, going to the bathroom, and she can't cook. She's fucking up the hot dogs, all this shit. It's like really suburbanite looking people dropping things off. They studied Greek history and shit. I'm like, who the fuck are these people? I don't know who these kids are, but they're dominating my apartment, right? So I'm drinking, and one day I'm like, who are these kids? I go, these are my secret kids, I think of myself, which I end up using later. So then I redesigned the poster to Kenn Kweder Kweder and his Secret Kids. There's no band. It's just this ridiculous concept. I'm working full time for the government. There's no band. I'm going to say fuck you to the city of Philadelphia. Fuck you. And on top of that, I'm using the carnation milk to put shit up that stays up for years, by the way. So and I get a job as I'm the head of the fucking food stamp department in West Philadelphia. True story. So I'm thinking so I'm still doing it, but then all of a sudden I'm going, man, I gotta do some music. I'm gonna put together. I slowly put together a band right before Nixon resigns in 1974, August 9th, 1975. Because I wrote the resignation letter on August 9th. I had a fetish for Nixon and Patty Hearst too, but that's another story. That's another knob story. The whole Patty Hearst thing with me is ridiculous. So anyway, I eventually get tired of my government job, and I quit. First thing I do when I get broke, I apply for fucking food stamps. I buy enough food stamps to get 50 gallons of carnation milk. So man, we go on a fucking poster campaign. We're hitting fucking all the fancy men's stores. We're hitting like all the restaurants that are nice, like Lebec Van, you know. We're hitting underneath City Hall, which I get arrested at, by the way, for criminal mischief. I tried to pay the cops off with tickets to my ethical society game. I got arrested there too. So it's the same. So I don't give a fuck about getting arrested. I'm just going forward. Fuck it. So let me get back to the iPads. Okay. So I'm using carnation milk to deface the city with government-funded food stamps. Fun and games, baby. So what we do to be really tricky and hilarious, we're gonna fuck with SEPTA. So we plan ourselves, me and this guy Artie Tripp III, who helped me design some other posters. We start going to 30th Street Station. When the trolleys would pull in, we at rush hour, because they come back to back. We had a bucket, a painter's brush, and the Kweder poster. We would put the brush poster, then seal it. They were coming in. They were our mobile fucking advertising company. So not only were we doing, and then we hit 30th Street Station, 69th Street Station. We had every possible inch there. But all these buses and trolleys, we were out in the street. They were just driving. We put on the back of the trolley, so people were driving, going, "What the fuck is that, Leo?" What the fuck is Kweder? And then later on, what we do then at that, we decide not just Kenn Kweder and the Secret Kids. We put this fictitious name of a dear friend of mine from Southwest Philly that I grew up with, Red Barker Presents. Okay? Like, what the fuck is going on in Philadelphia? Not only do we know what the fuck's going on, there's this guy presenting this insane thing. And there's like all these people in the city going, is this like sort of a mobile movie about John F. Kennedy? So I did all this shit with my buddy Red Barker, John Cotton from Southwest Philadelphia. Artie Tripp III, my cousin Eric Koblenz, dear, like lifelong friend. So many people from Southwest Philly who really got in on the momentum of sort of like promoting what I wanted to do artistically, but having a good chance, having a good bit of fun with the fun and games of torturing, fucking disturbing Philadelphia. It was kind of nice. So. Anyway, where's the Tom Waits at? Do we still have it?
You didn't bring it.
Okay, I forgot. I was supposed to bring the Tom. Okay, that's the end of that story. Fine. So we're going to move on. Like, during the same time I was working for the government, I get this phone call from a future manager of mine. I got to take this thing off. What the fuck? I'm getting tired out. I'm too old, So I get this phone call from Bill Ive, who ends up, managing Robert Hazard, who writes Girls Just Want to Have Fun. But he ends up being my manager too. But I just sort of known him. And he goes like, "Hey Ken, do you have a car?" I'm thinking, you mean the car that I've been posting in Philadelphia for 2 years with carnation milk? Yes, I have a car. He goes, "I can give you $50 if you drive this sort of brand new artist around. He's doing gigs on the northeastern area of America." I go, "Well, who is he?" He goes, "His name's Tom Waits." I go, I kind of sort of know. I go, "I'll do it, man. I got nothing to do. I'm authorizing food stamps, and I'm still working in the government. And just defacing the city of Philadelphia." So I thought, I'll give the guy. So I start driving Tom Waits around, and we get to be good friends, So next thing you know, I'm like driving here, and he said, "I have this." And I happen to have installed in my car by a neighbor in Southwest Philadelphia named Louis Waltrop a siren, a police siren. And you turn the light on, you you just turn this dial. So we're driving to gigs and we're like behind schedule a bit. So I'm turning like, "Rah!" And Wade's just like, what the fuck? I go, fuck this. Leave it up to me, dude. You got it. And Wade's just like scared. He's like a young kid at this time, right? So we're both young kids, but he's younger. Yeah, fuck that. So I got the siren going, and then so I'm doing all these gigs with Tom Waits, and then I get to meet people, really, to me, legendary people, because I read a lot about the beatnik generation, and he romanticized the whole beatnik generation. I get to meet Al Kahn, who was a saxophone player with Jack Kerouac back in the 50s. I'm like, oh my God, not only that, Al Kahn gives me a flask, and we drink out of the same flask. I'm going, oh my God, I'm drinking out of the same flask with Al Kahn, who played with Jack Kerouac. I'm going nuts. And we're at the Radnor Hotel. So over time, we're doing gigs at what was called Glassboro State College, which is now Rowan. And then we're doing stuff up in New York at the Chelsea Hotel, whatever. So when Tom Waits was getting ready to do Nighthawks at the Diner, I was the driver. So I drove home, we did that. Then we did a few more after that. But at that point, I started to get a little loosey-goosey, you know? I started to take a little poetic license with the backstage liquor situation. And I had my buddy Artie Tripp III who helped design some of the posters. And I knew if I got too fucked up, Artie would take over. Because Artie never drank, he never smoked, or that. But there was this one night when all of a sudden, I don't know, I blacked out at the Tom Waits show, and then I woke up in the back seat of my car, and Waits is driving me. Unfortunately, that went on a couple of times, and I got fired by Waits for drinking. That's a true story. Hold on, let me get this. I'm still working with this thing.
Paul Grillo.
Okay. Is everybody enjoying this so far? I mean, last night I actually spent 20 minutes writing all the stories that are not included tonight. And let me tell you, there's some really crazy ones. There's the one with me and Patti Smith fighting. That's another one. I'm not going to get into that now. Oh, yeah. She's not a nice person, I'll tell you that. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, anyway, so I want to, before I get into the next song, I want to set this up with that one of the most, not only Billy Schott, who helped me write songs, there was another guy who was really influential and fundamental in my evolution of becoming whoever I am. I can't quit, right? And his name was Paul Grillo. Now, he taught at a school called West Catholic at 49th and Chestnut Avenue in West Philly. And, he was like, he was not like any other teachers I had had, because I grew up Catholic. A lot of the nuns and whatever, they didn't really get it. They were teaching you something from another era, which was like cookie cutter, clearly insane. And then, but Paul Grillo was only a few years older, and he knew about Kerouac, he knew about, a lot of other people, and he had this pipe. He had this like, he was like, all right, Kweder, what are you doing up for me, And he was like totally in touch with what was going on in the world with literature, film, the arts, and primarily music, So it was an incredible feeling to know that you were actually almost on the same level as somebody that agreed with you with your perceptions of living in existence. So really bright guy, very much into Bob Dylan. So he became like my second mentor. He became like my human compass. I knew north from him, east, west, south, and all that other stuff. So when I found out that he was into Bob Dylan, to me, who was the Nikola Tesla of the 60s. Is that how you say it? Nikola Tesla of the 60s. Like no other teacher ever talked about Bob Dylan or Jack Kerouac or like someone like Dave Van Ronk, Frank Zappa, Lawrence Ferlinghetti, William Burroughs, Neil Cassius, Allen Ginsberg. Paul Grillo was front and center all about that information, which was really relevant to us in the year like 1968 or 69 when all this shit was breaking loose in the country. So I was like, you know, he was like wide awake. He wasn't sleeping. It was important. So, and I was kind of a kid that, like, even though I wanted to be a great basketball player and I wanted to be a great guitar player, I wanted to change the world too. And he said, you can change the world with words and music if you want. And you should try to listen to this, you know, this Bob Dylan guy. And I always said to him, I go, how the fuck did Dylan get his ideas? Where did he get his ideas? It was like insane. It was like he came from another universe or whatever. And he said that, like, Bob Dylan was taught or he studied the Greeks, and he also studied a guy named Jack Kerouac. And I was like, who the fuck is Jack Kerouac, you know? So then, you know, and then I started looking at Jack Kerouac, and then all of a sudden nitroglycerin went off in my brain and connected Kerouac, Grillo, and Bob Dylan. And I'm going to play this song in respect of Paul Grillo, who changed my life. I was up on a Wednesday night, just digging into one of your fights and sipping a subterranean beer. When I glanced up from the page, in the glass I spied a face. I swear I thought I saw you here. Jack Kerouac, when are you coming back to soothe these road aching pains of mine? I've read all your books, and I've even got your looks. So whatever you do, please don't take your time. Oh, the road, it was rugged, but I know that you dug it every time you swallowed your swigs of beer. But I don't know if it's true, if it's me or if it's you. Every time I peek into my mirror, Jack Kerouac, when are you coming back to soothe these road aching pains of mine? I've read all your books, and I've even got your looks. So whatever you do, please don't take your time. Jack Kerouac, when are you coming back to soothe these road aching pains of mine? I read all your books, and I've even got your looks. So whatever you do, whatever you do, whatever you do, don't take your time. So thank you. Paul Grillo was an amazing cat, great poet, by the way, great, just tremendous creative cat. Now, the next song that I'm going to do is a song that I wrote with someone that I would consider the most talented cat I ever played with in my life, by many levels. A genius times genius times genius. And he was incredibly fertile. To me, he was like a 20th century shaman. And I think there's physicists and there's shamans and they're all on the same level as far as I'm concerned. Logic does not apply to everything in this life. And Chris Larkin is his name, was one of the great ones of all time. I was very lucky, extremely lucky to have been brought to Chris Larkin somehow by serendipity or whatever. And we met in late 1976 on South Street. He was a keyboard player, and he joined a band I had at that point called the Secret Kids. And he immediately brought my music possibilities up, not 1 level or 2 level or 3 level. He brought my music stuff up about 7 levels. And we were lucky enough to co-write at least a dozen songs. This guy was a genius of melodies, he was a genius arranger, a genius producer. And he worked on the worst, horrible, crappy equipment. The fucking wires didn't work, the keyboard hardly worked, all this shit didn't work, but he would get the greatest sounds from the future on this shit, you know. Like people today, they have all these pedals and shit. He had no pedals. he just tortured the keyboard, so they bent things with a screwdriver and shit. I don't know how he did it, you know, but he did that in his brain too, you know. So sounds I hear today that are really pop songs, like huge songs I hear DJs play. That sound I heard in 1977 coming out of his $50 soaked in the rain, driven over his old station wagon keyboards. I mean, I've heard it, and then we get them to work again. So this guy was unbelievable. Plus, he had style. I never really had much style. I had a certain style. I learned it eventually. But he could get a 50-cent shirt, a $1 pair of sunglasses, a lousy pair of borrowed pants, and some crazy hairdo. It looked like $1 million. One girl once said to me, looking at him was looking directly into the sun. Times Jim Morrison. So he was a good-looking guy. Which showed me says I couldn't get the girls anymore after the show, so he got them all. So if you were to merge Paul McCartney in his prime, Brian Wilson in his prime, and bring them into a singularity, Chris Larkin would be that singularity to me. Wow. So I'm going to play a song we wrote together.
Yeah.
This song actually includes chords that don't belong together, but with the genius of Chris Larkin, they work together. It's like using a basketball out on the golf course. It works or something. It just gets tiny enough to go into the hole. I don't hang out with no broken hearts no more. Don't believe in the spoken word no more. I'm standing in the spotlight and I'm doing the best that I can. I'm making a face or two at the people I once knew from way back when. Had to make a promise to myself not to be like anybody else. But my friends, they turned their back on me so fast, I could not see. They gave me the go-ahead, and they said, hey man, you'd better leave. She left a note, she left a note, she left a note, and she said don't go. She left a note, she left a note, she left a note, and she said don't go. I do believe, I do believe, I do believe, I do believe in it. Oh, 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 oh. So I don't hang out with no broken hearts no more. Don't believe in the spoken word no more. I'm facing a thing that I never thought I'd face before I left you. It wakes me in the middle of the night and it reminds me tomorrow's gonna be black and blue. She left a note, she left a note, she left a note, and she said don't go. She left a note, she left a note, she left a note, and she said don't go. Ba 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 ba, ba ba ba, ba 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 ba. I do believe, I do believe, I do believe, I do believe in it. Oh, 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 oh. Nobody whistles anymore. I'm bringing it back to vogue. Chris Larkin. A guitar. guitar stand. I never use those things anyway. So let's see here, where we at? Okay, the next song that let's do is my cousin. I want to do this. This song is about my cousin Eric Koblenz. We grew up together in the same neighborhood, and he fell in love, and he was super in love with a particular girl that really broke his heart. And that happens to all of us, I know. But this was like, to me, this was a super heartbreaking situation, and you know, they tried to, you know how it goes, you break up, you get together, whatever. So she had had enough of him for whatever reason, you know, whatever her reasons were, and then she moved to Chicago, and then Eric wouldn't let go, and he just continued to contact her, and convinced her to let him come out to give it one more go. So he went out, and then you know, he moved in again, and then he ended up becoming a what they call driver educator, driving instructor. So he did that for, you know, a couple months, but then of course it didn't work out, and so one night I remember being home. It was like 10 o'clock at night. I was at home, and I heard some banging on my door. It was my cousin Art. He'd driven straight from Chicago to my house. He was totally crying, and apparently he'd broken up. And he told me the story. He said the whole thing, this happened, no matter what I did, it didn't work out. And he said that they had been at the laundromat earlier that day, and then they had the clothes in these big bags, and they had to cash a check to sort of resolve whatever financial differences they had. And they had a big fight while they were in line in this bank. And then one of them threw all the clothes from the laundromat on the floor. And this song is called Susie Said So, and I'm going to play this for you. I'm going to use a pick this time because my thumb's hurting. You have to understand that it was Chicago, but it didn't have enough syllables. So I changed it to New Mexico. I studied my Greek mythology. It paid off eventually. Well, there's a couple of clothes on a floor in a bank in New Mexico. And they're just part of a dream that I thought that you knew, but I'll never know. While the air's so clean, the children get to grow up running strong. Oh, I gave myself to you, but my timing, it must have been wrong. Well, you shouldn't go out of your way for me. You should have never come here. You said it was something in your voice. You covered my ears, 'cause all we'd ever get would be disrespect if we ever got around to paying a decent rent. Like the taxi drivers only drive around, they don't care who or where or in which town. Well, is the feeling inside the one that should really count? Or is it that we're both so lost we won't be found? But what's the use of a feeling that only comes when you go? Ah, you gave yourself to me last night, but this morning it sure won't prove. That I thought that you knew, but I'll never know. While the air's so clean, the children get to grow up running strong. Oh, I gave myself to you, but my timing, it must have been wrong. That they say that it's finders, keepers, losers, weepers. All good lovers get to be good sleepers. Susie said so, so Susie said. I spun around, I lost my breath, But all that happened back in '73. I was just an unknown, and you laughed at me. But you were the one you swore you'd never forget. But the clothes that you threw down on the floor ain't been picked up. Yeah. Oh, to my cousin Eric. Thank you, guys. Stuff, man. Now let me get back to this modern technology. Will it cooperate with Kweder? I got two. Okay. Now, I forgot to mention that my cousin Eric's aunt, his mother, was my Aunt Annie, who, if you like what I do, she is the female version of Kweder. She was Angelo Bruno, who was a really influential mob guy in Philadelphia. She was his favorite waitress because she was the best and he was the nice guy. And what I'd like to say, because no one ever says this, is that the mob was good people. There were some bad guys, but they were good people. They took care of my aunt, and they took care of neighborhoods. They were good people. So no one ever said it. But they get a bad rap in the textbooks. But I'm here to say, I'm for the mob. I played gigs for the mob when I was broke, so fuck you. I'm sorry I didn't meet Angelo, but he took care of my aunt could, you know. So, anyway, here's a story everybody always asks me about. Something about Clive Davis or something.
You're right. That's why I couldn't stand.
Clive Davis. Who else in Philly could pull a show off like this, really? So, let me get to the Clive Davis thing. I'm not yet literate about these iPads, yeah. And this is still a work in progress, this Kweder Not on Broadway. We're going to keep this thing going. Hopefully Laura lets me back. We'll be back. So, anyway. So, I know some people may have heard that I had a meeting with Clive Davis back in 1979, which I did, you know. And we brought this fur coat along to illustrate, to represent Clive Davis. Let's hear it for Clive. So anyway, I had a dream last night I was going to cradle this like a baby, but I don't know. So I think the iPad's working. You can't just go back in time. Wouldn't it be great if we could all do that, right? So anyway, I had a band called The Secret Kids. I mentioned a little bit earlier, you know, with the Carnation Love thing. And it was the wintertime of 1977. And somehow the word got to New York City and to Clive Davis, who was like, at that point, like a musical tastemaker. He worked with Billy Joel, Manilow, Whitney Houston, a little bit with, happened to be really influential or really involved in ruining the career of Janis Joplin, but that's another story. Had her fire her band. You know. And then what happens? You have to whatever. So, but he was like the king of kings, and I was doing a gig at a place called the Hot Club at 21st and South, which was like a really hot spot for like the Ramones. Everybody played there. I mean, Elvis Costello. Plasmatics, of course. You know.
Kweder.
Yeah, but I wasn't low on the thing there. But there was like a bunch of people there. Ramones, all this gotcha. So Clive and my manager Bill Ibe at the time decided Clive really wanted to see me because he'd heard so much about me. You know, he wanted to come down. So we're set up for a gig in the winter of 1977. I felt we were at the top of our game. We had Denny Sheridan from Southwest Philadelphia on guitar, and Alan James on guitar, Chris Larkin on keyboards, Johnny Sachs on bass guitar, Hank Ransom, and his monster band, you know. And yet me, like you know, what I'm doing in the front, right? So Clive Davis is going to come down. So he comes down. All of a sudden, there's 7 limousines parked in front of the Hot Club in Philadelphia. coming from New York. Well, New York, the license plates, you know. So, hey iPad, why do you keep going back to Jack Kerouac concert? So he shows up. He has he's a huge fur coat on, big hat, and sunglasses. I didn't really get the chance to meet him. I just went on stage, and I'm like, motherfucker, I'm Kenn Kweder, fuck you, that shit. Which I enjoyed doing. But I had like, it was like Jim Morrison and Led Zeppelin. I was like, fuck you, you ain't got a chance to sign me, right? I had a slight ego problem at the time. So the thing is that there's all kinds of rumors of what actually happened later on that night between me and Clive Davis. That I cursed at him from stage. I threw a bottle at him. I was staring him down. You know, I was actually dealing quarter-pounds of weed from stage because I was broke. You know, you can throw if you're on stage in this crowd, you actually throw like you have a pair of socks, fill the quarter-pound away, just throw it in, you pay the thing to get. But should I actually used to do this and nothing? So I think about Clive Davis, I'm like dealing weed, right? That throwing antibiotics and Valium in the crowd. You know? So, but after the performance, he was pretty impressed. So he says to my manager, Bill, can we go meet somewhere where it's quiet? So Bill goes, let's go up to Doobie's at 22nd and Lombard, which is a quiet bar at that point. So we go up to Doobie's. We're back to Jack Kerouac again. This thing's torturing me. So, you know, we go up to Doobie's and we have a discussion about things. And he's telling me that he's not into my multi-syllabic use of language. I'm like, oh. I said, Clive, I quit the government job not to be told what to fucking do.
Right.
I told him, I quit a real job because I was tired of hearing like nonsense to get into a thing that I thought was totally free, art, you know. And he's like putting handcuffs on me. So he's like talking, he goes, well, you do multi-syllabic shit, it's going to confuse people in Idaho and Iowa. I go, fuck that. I'm not joking. I said, fuck that, he can suck my cock. Fuck. I go, like, you're talking to Shakespeare at this point. I'm like, really nuts. I mean, I'm not even kidding. This really happened. So the worst thing he wanted me to do, well, that was bad enough. He kind of got into like, okay, he lost, you know, quit the job. He wanted me to fire my band. Now, I'm from Southwest Philadelphia. I'm from Southwest Philadelphia. Okay, there's a lot of tough guys out there and shit, but the code of the street in Southwest Philadelphia was always in capital Loyalty, loyalty. These guys, I was nobody for years, and they came to my mother's basement, and they like made me get known. I'm not firing my fucking band. Right. So I explained to them, I can't fire these guys. There's a couple of them from my neighborhood. These other guys came along, they were broke. We were all a bunch of ragtag guys. We're getting well known. I'm not going to fire them. So he got really pissed off. And I said to him, art is not a commodity, man. And I was saying things that I guess you shouldn't say to guys that live in the so-called real world or whatever. And, so he never signed me, okay? So I was bummed out for a couple of days. But however, one of the good things that came out of me not being signed by Clive is that I became sort of a Philly pop culture fallen angel from that point on after that Dobbs debacle. Like not Dobbs, the Doobie's debacle. Like I became a fallen angel, which is more romantic than a regular angel, by the way. I'd rather hang out with fallen angels myself. So as time went by, I could recruit different players because I was the fallen angel. I stood up for art and all that shit. You know, I was broke too. I didn't give a fuck. But even though I was back on food stamps, I would go to a place with people doing coke. All the girls were going with the guys on $100 bills. I go, hold on a second. I just got this week a brand new edition of freshly made food stamps, $1 denomination. And we would snort coke through the $1 food stamp, and I'd pick up the chicks. It's like, because it was sanitary. It was more, it was sanitary. Like $100 bills got all kinds of bacteria, right? So I worked it out. I was working that shit out. So as a result of not getting signed, I was free to be freewheeling and broke and to do what I want and to write any type of songs that I want. To write unrestricted songs with decidedly intentionally non-pop sensibilities. And I could record them all at my leisure with the players that I wanted to play with. My guys from Southwest Philly, the guys from in-town, all that shit. So that was a plus to me, you know? So since then I ended up, since that thing happened at Doobies, I did put together like 25 rock bands, including the men from Wawa. We're back to Jack Cohen. I gotta work on this. It's like I'm going back to the government job.
Maybe he was in the band.
Maybe he's working for Clive Davis. So, okay. The men from Wawa, I had a band called the Greedy Little Miser Weasels. I had a band called the Men from Kweder. The Men from Maury Povich, which was codenamed on South Street as Cocaine. Me and Maury used to buy coke at the same guy. I used to say, "What is that, Povich?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "What's this deal?" He goes, "Well, he makes it cut out a long line to check out before he buys his shit." I go, "That's fucked up. He's taking advantage of you." So the Men from Povich, we played all these gigs, and everybody knew the code word was coke, right? They knew it was coke, right? They knew it was coke, right?
Right.
Yes,
So,
right.
so I was playing on Monday nights. Every coke deal and every coke addict was showing up at my shows. It was great for everybody. But you couldn't get into the restrooms. You know, so I had a band called the Rolling Blackouts, the Radio Church of God, which is good. And then towards the end, I had a band called Kenn, Kweder, and the Employees, who I got so fed up with because they weren't rehearsing. I actually gave each and every one of them, at the end of their career, pink slips on stage. I felt bad. No. But then I ended up working with a bunch of young kids called the Indian Gods who were wonderful. We ended up putting up some records. But I think all this shit was going on after the Clive Davis thing. So my life became very interesting, you know, post-Coronation Rock and all that shit, you know. And, you know, because I love what I do, and there are people in this audience that love what they do, whatever it is that you do, and getting up to work is a bitch, you're getting older and shit, but you still do it because you don't fucking quit, you know. I don't quit. You don't quit. We're all like salmon. We're going up against like resistance, river, whatever the fuck you want to call it, the current of resistance. And to me, in my case, it's musical salmon. I don't fucking quit. I'm the first guy I'm going to tell you I'm a fucking rock star, so fuck you. And we're back to Colorado again. This thing's trying to jeopardize the shows. So, let me see where we're at. Hold on a second. I gotta get it. This is my first time with an iPad.
It's the Russians.
So, like the freedom of this fallen angel, includes countless hilarious and bizarre PR campaigns, which Clive would never have accepted. You know? Over the years, my so-called record company, Pandemonium Records, that's the name of my company. Can you imagine? Has been comprised of a very diverse, constantly shape-shifting group of individuals. Not Clive Davis, but a group of individuals. That would include bookies, burglars, undercover cops, bartenders, strippers, pool hustlers, drug dealers, former enemies, trash pickers, psychiatrists, counterfeiters, Chinese doctors, etc. I had this one Chinese doctor during that period. He wanted to keep getting me coke. I go, dude, it's too easy. I can't. I'll do it anyway. I want you to be in a record company. It's just don't give me coke. Right? So not being signed to a huge company gave me the ultimate freedom, avoiding being handcuffed by draconian rules and regulations of record companies, whose only interest from week to week was the bottom line at the very, very cost of art and unfettered expression. That's me. Fuck you. And it permitted me to continue with my cartoonish, carnivalish PR stunts. I would often rent the Kerouac.
He rented Kerouac.
Let me go. Somebody's fucking with me. Clive Davis, fuck you.
Johnny Sacks.
Yeah.
Renting Kerouac.
So I continued to do, like, when it started with the crazy Kenn Kweder folk thing with the Carnation Book, I continued with the cartoonish PR stunts. I used to often rent a World War II searchlight, which was 1 billion candle power, could be seen from outer space. I did for like certain gigs, like I did the Elvis show or any type of Kenn Kweder CD release party. I did that to announce to people I'm still here and I'm fucking great. Fuck you. I know I'm great, you know. So, and the beautiful thing was that searchlight was visible from outer space. I just love that. Just in case Martians were looking for a Kweder. So, and for countless gigs in the 80s and early 90s, I used to rent from a friend of mine who worked for a Brinks truck thing. I used to get a Brinks truck. We would rent for $100. Put the band in and drive us to whatever gig we went to. And then when people were outside trying to get buying tickets, we would jump out like the Rolling Stones. It was hilarious. Yeah. So, but my favorite publicity stunt of all time involved a band. You may have heard of them called Fleetwood Mac.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to drop any names. They were a multi-platinum selling album called Rumors in 1978-79. They were the biggest act on the planet Earth back then. This is a true story. I was the brokest motherfucker on the planet. I was living in a place called the Flop House, $66 a month.
Gee.
And I was still having a problem. But I still had I had the food stamps and we were still picking the girls up with the shit. So my favorite stunt was I involved Fleetwood Mac. I knew they were coming to Philadelphia. They were going to be at the JFK Stadium. Stadium, right? So I had a roommate at the Flop House called Kevin Kelly, who worked at the Academy of Music, but had some friends that flew those little single-engine prop planes on the coastline of the Jersey beaches. So they have copper tone, the advertising banners, remember?
Yeah.
So I thought after about 18,000 beers, I need some publicity again. So, what's the chance of us hiring one of those airplanes? We got the Brinks trucks, right? Let's go up fucking higher, right? Let's get the Brinks truck up in the air, right? So, we hired a airplane. I was broke. My buddy Charlie Ville, who was an angel, another guy from Southwest Philadelphia, angel, saved my life many times. I said, you got $250? I got this idea with this airplane flying around JFK Stadium. He goes, what the fuck's wrong with you? I go, dude, just trust me. Give me the money. So he gives me to me $250, like $250,000. Like the food stamps, the whole trip. But I don't give a fuck. So we get to $250. I give it to Kevin Kelly. He meets the guy at the Academy of Music. And we get this guy to agree to get a banner to say Kenn Kweder. And it's going to fly around JFK, right? I had a beer up here. Where is that fucking beer?
Yeah, where your beer?
Right in front of your mic stand.
Okay. So anyway, just for hell of it. So you're getting a real Kweder show. You're like, not like Tom, he's here, you didn't care. He's only a workaholic, not an alcoholic. I was alcoholic. So insertion. So I'm thinking, I'm going, that's kind of a cool idea. Then I think, like, wait a minute, let's get Kenn Kweder welcomes Fleetwood Mac. Then I drink more beer. I get more creative, and I go, just like I wanted to disturb everybody's psyche in Philadelphia with the Lee Harvey Oswald photograph, let's have Fleetwood Mac welcomes Kenn Kweder. Oh yeah. Gave the guy $250. He took off the copper tone banner. Whatever the fuck he had on there. He writes, Fleetwood Mac, huge letters, welcomes Kenn Kweder. That flies around JFK 3 to 6 times. I'm dying laughing. The next day I get a phone call from some of the people that were involved in the concert. You fucking asshole! I go, what happened? I don't know. I had nothing to do with it. I don't know. That guy must be something wrong. This is way back in the day. So, no, I didn't get any charges pressed against me, but I got a couple of gigs at Irish bars and Irish bars. So that came out. I always consider it my favorite PR stuff. So, anyway, I got a couple more minutes left here, but I know it's getting long. How late is it? I don't know what time.
Oh, no.
You're fine.
I got plenty of stories. Okay. Anyway,
After 9.
so, hold on, let me have this. Since this is open, make haste, not waste, right? So, anyway, I want to tell you a story about another guy from Southwest Philadelphia where I grew up. Fantastic neighborhood. My buddy, the bomber, who was like extraordinarily brilliant, and lived near McCreesh playground and whatever, where the Fly hung out at, you know. Fly was like Quasimodo. You could fucking throw something at him, he'd climb up every building. It was nuts, you know. So my buddy Bomber, a dear friend of mine, we lived together in West Philly, a place called El Vista, and he was a gambler. Like, I don't like to use the word degenerate, but he was like a brilliant gambler, thought he knew all the answers, and he was winning all the time. He was winning, and he was betting with somebody called Diablo, Betty, and I forget Andy. So this guy named Diablo was like in charge of all the thing. So Tom was winning, he'd lose, he'd win, but he was winning like 70% of the time. So they would pay him $5,000, $2,000 a month. We were like kids, we were like 22. He's getting like $2,000, $1,700. It's like, wow! You know, this is pre-food stamp for me about it. Yeah. So just give you like sort of that frame of reference. So he's winning. We're living together at this place in West Philly. All of a sudden, you know, there's such a thing as a streak. So I'm not going to make gambles here. There's a good streak, and then there's a bad streak. So then the bomber runs into a bad streak, and he loses $16,000 in 1 week. So he'd been getting paid by Diablo constantly, and Andy and Betty, and then he just didn't have the money because he'd spent it on who knows what he spent it on. But he was dealing hashish out of the apartment we lived. He used to wear like a Coke miner's, what do you call it, like a miner hat with like a light on, cutting up the bricks and selling to different characters like Hercules and shit. Coming in. I don't know who they were. Yeah, fuck it. So anyway, so he loses all this money, and then he's not going to pay Diablo. So I go, dude, that's fucked up. You collected like $28,000. You're not going to give him the 16. He goes, I got the money. This went on for a couple weeks. Then all of a sudden the phone kept ringing. Then Tom leaves where we were living together. And all of a sudden I'm getting calls from Diablo going, where's he at? I go, he left me. He didn't tell me nothing. He's going, I know you know where he's at. I don't know where he's at. You know. He goes, I know you know where. I swear to God, I don't know where he's at. I swear to you. He said he's never going to talk to me again or some shit. So then Diablo sends over his hench people, Andy and Betty. They're banging on the door in West Philly. They're going, where's he at? I go, I don't know, man. I don't know where he's at. They go, I got a message for him. You tell the bomber, we're not talking about broken arms or broken legs. We're talking about hatchets. So I eventually talked, I go, dude, they're talking about fucking hatchets now. And he left, he went to Houston, right? Which I eventually went down and hung out with the chameleons and everything. There's a lot of hot chameleons now. So anyway, I wrote this song for him. I want to play this with my buddy from Southwest Philadelphia, the bomber. Woo!
Yeah.
He was like the Lex Luthor of lawlessness. You know what he used to take college SAT exams for money. He would like score 900 and shit. He was like, I was feeling hot towards Chicago, but the wind kept pressing the ball out of line. I got disabled by Diablo. Ever since he changed San Francisco's line. I'm taking a trip to Jerusalem, checking my tickets from here to LA. Goes by the name of Sammy Diablo, betting on a different team every day. I'm keeping my eye out for something to eat. I'm kicking back and forth within a rhythm known as defeat. I'm not the type of guy you're supposed to blame. After all, it wasn't my fault. They told him your name. Was searching the hills of San Diego. different team every day. Downstairs there's a wheel and it's spinning. A ballerina girl with nothing for hands. You gotta believe what the losers were saying. Oh yeah, give them another chance. Give them another chance. Give them another chance. Give them another. We're searching the hills of San Diego, checking the tickets from here to LA. Goes by the name of Sammy Diablo. Betting on a different team every day. We're searching the hills of San Diego, checking the tickets from here to LA. Goes by the name of Sammy Diablo. Betting on a different team every day. I heard he's coming back from where he came from. Oh my goodness, he's coming back. 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 Thank you. That's from my dear friend the Bomber. What are the chances we're back to Carla? No, we're gambling. One other funny thing about the Bomber is like he was really creative. He would actually spread rumors. I was having a big party. I had a really big house in Fishtown. The Kweder's having a New Year's Eve party, right? There was no party. All these people showed up. He would show up and sell drugs to them. It's like, no. It's like, what the fuck? And like, there's no party, but there's drugs, you know. So anyway, at some point, like in the 80s, I met up with a fellow named Ben Vaughn. He was a tremendous artist in Philadelphia. And I was getting burned out playing lots of gigs, and he goes, Kweder, man, you're lucky. You know, he goes, don't complain about nothing. You know what you're doing. You're a great performer. But you got to get in the studio. You have to leave a fingerprint behind for, you know, people past, you know, other generations, you know. So he convinced me I was actually, you know, was worth going back in the studio. This is, you know. So we went in and we did a thing called Kitchen Folk. And the original executive producer of Kitchen Folk was a guy named Circle Man, another gambler, right? I always talk about my rotating cast of record people. But he ran out of money because he was gambling like over in China or whatever. And another friend of the Bomber suggested we get in touch with a guy named Tommy Travins. Remember this name, Tommy Travins, to help finish the project. We need another $1,500. Ben Vaughn goes, hey, if you get the money, and we'll get the money. So get the money. So Tommy Travins, I got a meeting with Travins. Now I found out that Travins was like, the legend was that Tommy Travins was a top of the food chain criminal. He had broken into the Philadelphia Art Museum countless times. On like a Friday night to steal things. True story. I'm not making this up. This guy was a genius. He was a genius burglar, and he would break in and steal something, and 2 weeks later break back in and bring it back. Only for ego reasons. I mean, I can never make this up. This was my executive producer. We're back to fucking Carla. We're talking about Travins. Hold on a second. So anyway, let me get back to Travins, please. Breaking into art museums and shit. So the JFK plane, Fleetwood Mac. Hold on a second. I'm gonna let you guys go. I'm gonna be done pretty soon. So anyway, come on, Travins. So Travins helps me finish the project, and I went to his house a couple times. He had 500 scales weighing, like wasted in the garage. Travins, why? He goes, I need them, right? And I said to him once, I go, you know, this weekend is Hands Across America. Remember that thing?
Yeah.
I go, what do you think about Hands Across America? He goes, fucking fairy tales. It was tough bastard. So anyway, we we do the gig, and then one time he shows up at my house, he gives me a bag. He knows I was going to go to Copenhagen to do some gigs. He hands me a bag, goes, take it. I go, what is it? He goes, look, it's $20,000 of counterfeit money. I was like, oh, $20 bill. That's too short. So I go, he goes, just go on the airplane, spend it over there. No one will know where it's coming from. I go, I'm not getting on a fucking airplane. So I had to burn it in the fireplace. It was fun. So eventually, Tommy Travins, he gets arrested. He got ratted out by his neighbors, So he's in jail, right? He's in jail. Let me get this beer. What's up? I feel like my Uncle Huey in a bar telling a story. So, on Woodland Avenue, and he gets ratted out by his neighbors. He's upset. He's in jail. All of a sudden, the neighbors are having problems. Cars are being blown up. It's like heads of, like there's like shit going on. Like doors are being broken, windows are getting broken. So I said to my buddy who knew Travis, I go, how can Travis do this? How could Travis control the outside from the inside? From inside jail. And my buddy goes, do you think a little old thing like being behind bars could stop Travis? So he upped to pay for the recording of this one song, which is a very popular Kweder song on all the college campuses. So I'm going to dedicate this to the guy who has no problem handling shit outside from being behind bars, Mr. Tommy Travis. And this song's called Heroin. If it wasn't for Travis, no one would know this song. I got mixed up with all the other babies, all the other babies in the same hospital. I was a lonely little child, caught up in the courtesy, the mystery, the irony, the impossibility that I even had a childhood. But then I met you at the meeting, and I thought that you were at the meeting for the same reason, and I was at the meeting too. But then I lost you at the meeting, and it left me feeling terribly black and blue. I said, doctor, what can I take? He said, Kweder, you gotta get used to taking some good old-fashioned heroin. Heroin, it's the only way, it's the only way to get back to you. And you. Heroin, it's the only way, it's the only way to get back to you. And you. Well, my neighbors, they disagree. They go, not in this neighborhood. I said, Tommy Travis. Heroin, it's the only way, it's the only way. It is the only way. It's the only motherfucking civilized way. Heroin is the only civilized way for me to get back to you. Challenge. All right, let's see. Let's make sure we're not going back to Kerouac. Okay. So the end of the show is coming soon in case you guys are running out. So I just want to finish with the next 5 or 10 minutes and say that, like, after the Secret Kids and all that crazy noise I made back in the 70s and the 80s, that I never did stop performing, regardless of whatever resistance that I had. I mean, and there was a lot. Oh, Jack Kerouac again. Stop!
Curse.
Someone's trying to what's it called?
Halloween curse.
Yeah, Halloween curse. Hold on a second. Please give me a second.
Waits 30 years.
All right. I was like, we're up to Travis at this point. I wrote like bullet points, but it's only 3,000. Like normally bullet points like one per paragraph. It's like 3,000 words. Okay. So anyway, I just kept going, and as a result, I believed in myself, and I think it's important that everybody believes in themselves. And I never stopped. I put together this billion bands, the Wah Wah guys, and all that shit. I played over 5,000 gigs. And about 10 years ago, I wrote 1 million songs. I recorded them. It cost a lot of money. We had, backers with the Bookies and the Travins and all the fucking maniacs. And then I thought I wrote like 191 songs or some crazy shit. I was like, I just want to play live music, because live music to me, and tonight is like a sacrament. And so, if there's such a thing. In this modern day, mechanical atheistic times that we live in. So it's like a transfiguration. It's like I'm transfigurizing my mother into me, who thought she was Judy Garland. My father thought he was Frank Sinatra. That's what's happening in front of you right now. It doesn't look. My mother's not here, but she's here still, right? So I do believe that what I'm doing tonight is a sacrament. So I said earlier that I'm like Simon. I'm not going to quit. I'm just going to keep going, and that there is life after not securing a huge record deal. So I created in the last bunch of years, and I released 3 huge vinyl singles, 2 EPs, 1 double vinyl album, 1 full album cassette, back when that format was popular, right? Can you imagine? 3 albums on CD, and another 3Ds of greatest hits, and plus DVDs, and I've done like thousands of shows. I pretty much stopped recording, just do that. In addition to that, I've done like Kenn Kweder shot glasses, Kweder golf gloves. Hard to get that, It's sort of a class system kind of thing, right? Kweder Easter seals, which I had designed the exact size of Easter seals, which is like a federal crime. With my head on there with dreadlocks, it was fucking nuts. Back 20 years ago when I was like nuts, Now, it's only a federal crime, fuck. So I did 30 different Kenn Kweder calendars with a different theme. We paid attention to the Unabomber, because he paid attention to me, shit like that. But we have all kinds of things. Kenn Kweder Pez. Kenn Kweder promo t-shirts, about 25 of those, which I lost bundles of money on. T-shirts don't always work out perfect. And I've been doing about 300 gigs a year until last year. Once the Kenn Kweder movie came out, which was supposed to launch my career, it went from 300 shows a year to 210. So, no logic in the business. I've done prisons, venue, I've done everything. So I'm like an old blues cat, just don't stop, on and off airplanes. I keep on playing. So from my Billy Sharp beginnings, who taught me how to write songs, to now, I'm going nonstop. It's something that I love to do. There definitely is life after not securing a huge record deal. And if you are like a musical salmon like me, my advice to you is swim against the fucking current. Tonight's show is really part of the salmon experience, if you don't mind. So I'm going to finish up with one song. I want to thank each and every one of you. I want to thank Laura Mann for this wonderful venue. Soundman Craig Curtis right here, who provided the music prior to the show. Cindy Pearson, come out, take a bow. Here you go. She puts together the whole show here. And I don't know if I forgot anybody, but
Brian.
Huh?
Brian.
Oh, Brian's videographer. Brian here. Brian Legacy. Thank you, Brian. Brian's been tolerating me for about 7 hours. Thank you, Brian. Thank you. And thanks everybody, and it's great to see Adrian. Is that Adrian? I can't see him. Thank you for being a hero to come all the way out here. I love it, man. Love you. Means a lot to me, man. Thank you. I know. So I'm going to finish up with one more song, which kind of wraps up my whole career, because my doctor said, "Hey, Kweder, why don't you fucking write something about yourself for a change instead of Kerouac and Travins?" Let me get myself together here. I got 2 more gigs tonight. I have a gig next door, and I got Smokey Joe's. I'm not going to make it. I think I'm going to get blasted next year.
We're going with you.
Let's see.
The machine.
Let's see. Here, take that. That's for you. It's Kenn Kweder from. Without the wallpaper page.
That's for you.
Take some of that too. Take that. My show is all about giving out fucking souvenirs, you motherfuckers. Thank you so much. It really means a lot to me.
Thank you.
This, to be honest, this was extremely terrifying because I've never done anything like this. I did up in Lambertville, but this was closer to home. But I didn't want to let anybody down to
You did a
pay for tickets, and I want to give you something you remember. So thank you very much. Looking up, looking down, just trying to find a sound to explain what I sometimes mean. I grab my guitar and I strum, hoping a melody will come to forgive me from my young man's dream. Then I wake up, then I frown, and I put my guitar down, catch a smoke, and start it again. What are words? What are dreams? What are you? What are we? Are our hearts the same as trees? Verses fall down and rearrange. If I could find the key refrain, I'd be free and in your arms again. But this song won't cooperate. It's got two legs, but they just aren't straight, and a head with nothing upstairs. Now I could go on and on and on through every tunnel inside the song, but I'm not sure where it'd be leading us to. That's why I am here with this box, trying to unlock all the locks of the door of my deepest thoughts. What are locks? What are keys? What are you? What are we? Are our hearts the same as trees? I had my shot when I was young. I'll never know exactly what went wrong. What good would it do for me now? Now I could say that I'm fulfilled, that I live on the top of a hill in a house with purple fields. That when I wake up and I think, am I growing extinct? Now that's how I sometimes feel. So I sing my song. For that I can't be wrong, and I'll continue looking for my sound. Thank you, guys.
Kweder has left the building. However, he plays every Tuesday night at Smoky Joe's at U of T. He doesn't go on till 11:30, but it's worth it. It's a lot of fun. He plays every Thursday evening at Winnie's in Manayunk. In the summertime on the street, now he's playing inside. That's through the dinner hour. Please go out and support your live music venues so that we can keep on hearing people like Kenny.
Yeah.